trying to get Module 5 completed. Today was kind of a long morning. I had a couple of interviews-ish. So I won't say they were interviews. I will say they were screenings. Let's call them that. They were it was a contracting position. And if I get past the screenings, then I'll have potentially an interview next week if they're willing to, if they submit me to the client. And so the client's got to go, oh yeah, all right, sounds good. Then we'll interview them. Then we interview next week, and then maybe I start a new job if I get the job. I got to get through all of the things. Okay, so here's the one big problem I have with it. It sounds like a good job. It's going to match my skills. And I should be able to be okay with it for a while. You know, I figure a year is not too bad. But the problem I have with it, if I had to complain at all, it seems like it'll pay okay. It'll do something I know, so I can get in there and you know, kind of get going on my skills again. And it's I actually kind of like that it's what do you call it, hybrid remote, 2 days on site, Tuesdays and Thursdays. So everything, the other days are all on you know, remote, which is nice because it's kind of in the downtown area of where I live, and that's a terrible place to drive. So I'm not looking forward to that. But you know, if I get down there early, I might be able to avoid some traffic in the morning and maybe a little bit in the afternoon. We'll see. But anyway, so yeah, I'm working on that. You know, when you're I think the work might not be so bad. Maybe there's a potential that I could switch over to another part of the team that's actually working on new stuff. And but that might be a year or 2 years down the road. I don't know. It's a 2-year project, 1-year contract that could extend if they decide they like me. I don't know how you can not like me, but it really doesn't come down to your personality in most cases. It comes down to how well you contribute to the team, right? So it's going to be, what do my skills add to their team in the context of the newest, you know, the new stuff that they'll be using after my stuff. I'm coming, basically they'd be bringing me in to support their legacy stuff. So there are going to be no updates, no changes, nothing like that. Just keep it running while they do all the work on the new stuff, which is normal. I mean, full-time employees get the privilege of doing new stuff. And contracting employees get the privilege of just covering the old stuff. That's normal. That's the way it was on my other company. It's pretty normal, and it's the way it should be, really. Contractors should not get the good stuff. I'm sorry. And if you're a contractor out there, I'm sorry, that the full-timers, they should get the good stuff, the move forward stuff, the learn and build their skill stuff. And that's true. Contractors, you know, they're the ones bouncing around, right? And need all the skills they can get. But it's just, you know, I don't think contracting should be the way of work. I don't think so. But who am I? You know, I prefer, you know, people should be able to, should they choose to, you know, be able to depend on a long-term job and be able to build their skills, and so stuff happens, they still have a job to go to, you know, they have skills to work with. Contractors, you know, they can learn stuff on the go, they can get new jobs that maybe have something new. It's all, you know, it's all opinion, of course. But anyway, so let's get back to this. So I did go through the first few videos of the Module 5, and I don't know what's going on here. Wait. Well, I thought I did Module 5. Yeah, see, look all the way down. Oh, I'm still working on Module 4. Holy moly, I guess it's Module 4. It's the last part of Module 4, but, and I got to get through 5 and hopefully even 6 this week. These aren't that long, but it's, you know, today, like I said, had a lot of stuff going on this morning. I was prepping for interviews and stuff like that. But, so let's go ahead and close this guy up. I don't need it right now. I don't need that either for now. What is all this stuff? I have a lot of things here. What is in my other resources? Oh, that's super base. All right. I don't need whatever that is. Some of these I keep because I'm simply, I need to go back and watch them at some point. Oh, that's not what I wanted though. So that was the other sandbox stuff I was trying to get going way back when. Sometimes I just don't close tabs. It's probably not the best. Okay. So what we're doing, I've gotten to publish a simple Azure function. That's all it is, man. I just got to publish this nonsense. And I think, yeah, we'll get to it. I kind of was going through a lot of this. So we're going to go over here, create a resource, which I'm trying to remember what I did Friday. Yeah, okay, so I just have to go through here first, right? Now, when it says publish, it means publish from an outside tool. We're using Code Tool / Visual Studio. This is not going to be published directly in Azure Portal. We're doing it from an outside tool. That's the whole point of this, is to get it so that we can, do it from other tools. They had me set up Visual Studio, and I tell you, I'm already liking Visual Studio more. I've always liked Visual Studio. I think it's a great tool. And there is a dev license I think you can get. So you can actually do dev. You're not supposed to do, what is it, corporate development, enterprise level development. I don't know what that means. So if you're doing a dev personal license thing, I mean, what, you can't write code that's viable for business? I don't know. No need to worry about that. I'm not actually going to be doing that myself. I will be doing just my code for my things. Oh, I got hit for a $700 bill. Terrible timing. For some reason, I didn't even think that was coming. It was my HostGator for my website. I should have canceled it. Just got my code off of there and went offline for a bit. I didn't realize it's been that long. I did 3 years last time, so I didn't know my 3-year range was up. So now I'm not sure. Yeah, that was kind of a bad hit for being unemployed. C'est la vie. All right, well, gonna have to deal with it. Next things next. Next things next. First things first. Create an Azure function app using the Azure portal. We're going to start. Why am I doing this here again? Oh, man, where is this just not? Why am I doing this here? See, you can't. I'm telling you right now, you cannot create a function app in Azure, or at least I cannot. It will not create. It won't create correctly. This is not a good way to do this. I mean, I can do this through other means, but I'm trying to see if there's a way I can do this without. See, look, I'll show you. They walk you through these steps for creating a function app, and I don't know why I'm doing it this way, because I feel like we're supposed to be doing all this through Visual Studio. So why am I doing this here? I don't know, but it says here we have this function. Let me show you. I think I created. And I also set up with Visual Studio 2022. They do 2019 because I think at the time of the class that's what was being used. This Watch Portal function solution. This is the functions that we created. I don't understand why we're creating. Why don't we just set this up? That's curious to me. So. See here if I can get myself signed in. Work? I don't know. Okay, looks like it worked. Okay, so Publish Wizard and Azure Function Template provides the most straightforward way to deploy Azure functions, especially for testing purposes. In the luxury watch online website scenario, you've decided to use Visual Studio to deploy your functions to an Azure Function app in the cloud. First, you'll create an Azure Function app, and to deploy your functions in Visual Studio, you'll use the Publish Wizard. In this exercise, you'll see how to use the Azure portal to create an Azure Function app. Then you'll deploy the Watch Info function. Lastly, you'll test the function to verify that it had been deployed correctly. This exercise requires the use of the Microsoft Learn Sandbox. You can access the exercise. It always says that. It doesn't require that. You just need to have at least a function set, or what do you call it, an Azure account, preferably paid one, because a free one sucks. So if I'm going to do this, like, this is what I'm talking about. This is a major bug. I'm telling you, it's a bug. It's a cheapskate maneuver. I don't know what it is you want to call it. But if you go in and create this function app, and you go to basics, enter the following values for each setting, and you do all this, it'll be there, blah, blah, blah. Everything's pretty much exactly as you expect, unless maybe there's something different when I do a .NET 6 code. I haven't done that, but we're going to see. But when you hit next, there is no next storage. The next thing is like networking. I'll even show you because it's stupid. And then if you don't put storage, it explodes. I mean, it says it doesn't work. It'll say, hey, you're a you're a dummy. I'll say, I can't do that, man. We need a storage. Say, well, fine. Where's the storage? See, it's consumption serverless. So we hit select. Then we go here. I'm going to just select an ECUS because this is usually pretty bad. We'll just go with the AZ204 course. Basics. Your function app must have a name unique to Azure. We suggest using something like your initials, watch functions. So, okay. NG, AZ, oh, it has to be NG, AZ204. So we'll do that. And then we go, and it says, I got the resource group in there. We have code. Runtime stack is .NET, slightly different. And we're going to go with the latest. We'll go with 8. ECUS, Windows. And then you click Next. See, networking, not storage. There is not a way to link a storage app. It just doesn't exist. I don't know why. But it sucks, and it won't create it for you. This is why it's nice when you do a VS Code one, and I haven't done this through Visual Studio yet, but when you do a VS Code one, it will I'm just trying to think of some other possible ways I could do this. When you do a VS Code one, it'll put the storage on there for you. You're able to create it and add it. I don't know. So let's go to the next step. I'm going to go look. I want to see what the next step says about publishing this. I'm hoping that maybe there's something on there that maybe I can trick it. Maybe I can get it to create the function for me. Or the app for me, because this is not good. I'm telling you, this won't work because it won't work. It might create it, but it'll complain and say, yeah, you don't have a storage app, and you cannot assign a storage app after the fact. That's another dumb thing about this. You can't even fix the problem. It says, oh yeah, that's not configured right. And I'm like, okay, how do I fix it? Oh, you don't fix it. At least nowhere I've been able to find. In fact, I even saw online it says you can't change the storage configuration after you've created the function app. It's just, yeah. Just don't get me started on that, man. Irritates. I gotta close. I gotta dump a lot of stuff here. I'm not gonna get rid of my storage account. I'm gonna get rid of pretty much everything else. So I need to keep things kind of clean. So. Cosmos DB. I'll keep the Cosmos DB for now. I'm going to get rid of this thing. Can I even delete all these? Okay, I can. So we're going to go durable functions, durable functions, durable functions. I just don't want to get rid of my storage. Oh, keep the storage account. No, I guess I don't need that storage account. We'll get rid of that one, and that one, and that one, and that one. And I'll get rid of that one. But let's first go. I mean, I am just starting to build up a lot of stuff, which is going to be a problem, right? I don't want to mess with that right now. Where is Visual Studio? Let's click. Go here. Going to go watch portal functions, which is my solution. Wow, this is what I called it, VS2. Publish. Azure. Azure Function App. Publish your application code to a serverless compute that scales dynamically and runs code on demand. Okay, so we're going to say Azure Function App. Pretty sure that's the right one. Yep. Because I have... Well, this one was already created. I think this is actually a functional one. Actually, you know what? It looks like I could use these. I'm going to try one of those. I'm going to try using one that already exists, one that I haven't, I almost deleted. I don't think it cares whether it's durable functions or not. I have durable functions too. One of them I want, but let's go to this learn functions 91 one. That's one that was created, I think, by another process. I'm going to try to use one that already exists. What is under here? Nothing? Oh, you know what? Might not work. Oh, shoot. Yeah, it's not going to work. That's not going to work. It's the wrong language. I created that. I actually used to have, I did have, and I deleted it, a .NET one that I created. But that's not going to work. Nope. It probably blew up. Yeah, it's not going to work. I'll have to republish. Well, I'm going to publish that again. Which means I have to figure out how to get this to work. I don't know. I hate some things about Azure. It's just dumb. Why is this always got to be so difficult? So I'm guaranteeing you this is not going to work. I'm going to go next. Public access, sure, whatever. No, well, yeah, sure, whatever. I mean, it's not going to matter. I can't be able to put anything on here. Application insights. Application insights. Sure, whatever. Next deployment. There's nothing here. Will enable continuous deployment? No, I don't even have that. GitHub setup. Basics tab. Complete the basics tab and form above to preview the GitHub Actions workflow. Basic authentication, sure, because it complains if I don't. Tags, not going to worry about it right now. Okay, so here's where you see all the stuff, but you see that none of these are storage. There's no storage. No way to add storage, no way to connect storage to the function at create time. Just doesn't exist. There's not a way to set up your storage, and if you I'm curious. Does this show anything with storage on it? So I'm wondering, can you? Because this is the script that sets it up, right? API, location tags, depends on property, connection string, value, application insights, connection string, how's your web storage, secret storage type files. Server farm. API properties depends on. API properties depends on. Just trying to see if anything around here identifies the storage. Storage account here, right? This doesn't identify app settings, worker runtime version, application insights connection string. So, man, this is so frustrating because all of this class does is constantly have me creating function apps and they don't work. It says it won't work because you can't connect a function app. And the only way to create it is to do it. So, all right, I'm going to try something else. I'm going to try to create a very generic .NET function app. This is a storage app right here. I was actually going to deploy it. But this is just me. Well, actually, this is me putting it in Git. So let's go here. This is a function app that's written in C#, so it's using .NET. So I'm going to see if I can make this work. Deploy to Azure. And we'll call it .NET functions. Oops, I forgot, I did that wrong. Never mind. Got to create new function app. What is that? Do I need to connect? Why is this not working? Turn on manage extension. All right, maybe if I close this, maybe it needs to reconnect. Only because this is the only way I know of to create a valid function app is to do it from an outside source, because this will not work. I guarantee it. I'll show you because it's dumb. So I go here. And, well, I'm waiting for my... What is it doing? Did it... Hello? What are you doing? Well, it's taking really long to load, whatever it's doing. Okay, Parameters. Storage account name. Huh. Storage. That's not even a valid. What is that? AZ204 Course 62F? I don't know what that is. That's not a storage account though. Tell you that right now. That doesn't exist. AZ204 Course 62F. I'm going to go, let's try this. All resources. My storage account is, or at least the one I'm going to use, is this one. 62F. Do you see a 62F? It's like it wants to create its own storage account, but it doesn't want to let me use. Can I change this? Can I edit? Gosh, dang nabbit. All right. I'll download this for now. And we're going to go back, and it'll say, okay. Oh, do I have to do this again? Arg. I don't even know why I'm doing this. I just know it's not going to work because it doesn't work. I'm telling you, what Azure is just terrible. It doesn't function right. So I just need to go here. I think it's this one. Is it that one? No. Shoot. It's this one. I did enable there. It's just avoiding an error. One error I know of. Form validation. Oops, did I forget something? Oh, yeah. AMG AZ204 watch functions. Then we'll go back to here. You create. Says good. And then I will go ahead and say create. Now, it may or may not work. Who knows? But if it does, I mean, this will come up as far as the deployment is what I was saying, may or may not work. This will have an error. I guarantee it. As soon as you go on, I think it's as soon as it's still building it. You see it's still deploying in progress. Just whatever that do, finish. Okay. Really got to do something like get ignore. All right. While this is doing, I don't know if I could do multiple things. I don't know how smart this is. Let's see if I can go deploy it. Sure. Okay, so now it's gonna, I think it'll let me. So it created this watch functions, but so watch, if I go over to my thing, we will get an error saying this is not configured correctly, even though I didn't do anything except set it up. All I did was set it up. I used their whole process, and there's a new one. Oh no, that's not it. What the heck is it? Here it is, watch functions. Okay, so we're going to click on this, and there will be an error at the top that says this is not configured correctly. Storage is not configured properly. I told you every time, because you cannot set it up correctly. There is no way to attach storage to the function when you set it up on a free account. There's just, you can't do it. Or at least I have not seen it. If there's a way to do it, hey man, I'm all ears. So yeah, but it's stupid. Now there's these environment variables. I've tried to set those up too, because there's one that I've heard you need, and I've set that up to try to point at the right thing. Doesn't work. It's like you have, see, there's none of these are these configuration settings. There is no storage account. You can't set it. It's not there. Environment variables are the ones that supposedly it uses. You can see that the web storage account type, and you can create and add one that's supposedly going to matter. It does not work. In fact, it deletes the one you create. If you create one that's holding what you think it's supposed to hold, no. If you put it in connection strings, it just laughs at you. It doesn't work, man. There's nothing. I have not figured out how. I've looked all over the internet. I've done the full bit. Nothing works. So, and now what the heck? Here, Operation, this is not supposed to be. EPERM, operation not permitted. Since when? I was doing this just fine before. What the heck is EPERM, operation not permitted? See? Oh, man. It's just always something. EPERM, operation not permitted. What the heck is that? Is not for Windows. This command change prefix to access and make a change of directory. I need to run my command as administrator. Run npm config edit. You will need notepad editor. Change prefix variable. Why? Why do I need to do that? Arg. Arg. All right, we're gonna go. Let's just do this new project. Let's see if I can do a new project. We're gonna browse because it's going into my users folder, which is probably part of the problem because you get weird permissions on that, and then you have to go change your permissions, and you shouldn't have to do that. So it's done. We're gonna go here, and we're gonna go. Create a new folder. We're going to call this .NET functions. And we're going to say select that folder. And we're going to do this as C#. And we're going to do .NET 8.0. And let's just do a generic timer trigger. Why not? No, HTTP trigger. And we're just going to go, yeah, we'll just leave it as 1 for now. And we're going to go provide a namespace. Well, let's just call it AMG AZ204. And what was the function app I created it as? I think it was actually set up as anonymous. Yeah, anonymous. And we'll just say open a new window because why not? So this hopefully will create it and everything will be okay. Let's see. Then I have to deploy it and see what's going on. I'm hoping that's not, and now that we're out of the user folder. That's going. Hopefully it's all happy and going well. Bottom one is done working. All right, so I think we are up and running here. Okay, so now this is just a generic function. I'm not going to worry about it because I'm actually trying to deploy something else to it. Just to do this other part of the class, and we'll see if I could create this one. So we're going to go deploy to Azure. We're going to try to say, what do we want to call this? Create new function app, maybe? Aha, seems like it's working now. All right, we'll call it, what do they want to call it? Watch functions. We'll call it AMG AZ204 watch functions. Oh, I can't because I created it in the broken version too. Because this is the second one. Why not? It's very original. It's attempt number 2. Because we know the first attempt was dumb. Go 8 isolated. We're going to go to the one that I recently used because that's the one that seems to work. Most of the time the other ones don't work. Of course, you know, to be honest, I haven't tried any other location from VS Code. I've only ever tried East2 because that's the only one that I would ever get deployed on Azure. The other ones were just like, no, not enough room, no subscription space, blah, blah, blah. So I've just been using East US because it's the one that's been functioning. It keeps everything in the same location. Everybody's copacetic. So yeah, using these doesn't work. So I'm going to go ahead and delete these. It doesn't matter. I just want to make sure I don't delete something I want. No, I think we're good. And anything I actually did in VS Code, I have still. So I'm just making sure I don't delete anything that is my new functions. Clean up a little bit of my stuff. Now, it is possible that they're going to bump heads. I'm trying to delete stuff. You're trying to create. I don't know how much cross-person connectability you got on these apps. You know, I mean, when you're doing free, multiple actions going on at once probably have some kind of restrictions. So we're deploying something, theoretically, if it's working. Then, if this works, if it deploys and creates it correctly, hopefully I can go to my other one and publish to it. That's what I'm hoping for. So, we'll find out. Now, I'm going to have that problem of this has a thing in it. If you don't have the functions all present when you deploy from another location, it's going to delete whatever's already there, I think, because I'm publishing it. So it says completed. Okay, so I should have, if I go here, I should have a function app called AMGAZ Watch Function 2. Here it is, AMG Watch Function 2, and there's my function app for it. It's going to have one HTTP trigger in it that doesn't do anything. At least it's not set up to do anything, or at least nothing I'm aware of. So we're going to go here. We're going to go ahead and right click on this again. We're going to say publish. It's probably going to ask me the same questions it asked before. Is that working? Nope. I think it's missing settings. It's not gonna work, dude. It doesn't exist. You're gonna blow up. Stop it. Just let me have. It's like, what's it doing, man? It's not gonna create. What are you doing? Yeah, that's what I said. Okay. So I have to edit this. That's the problem here. Username. Stop application. No, that's because it doesn't exist. Okay, so that's not it. I want to edit this. How do I edit this? New profile. I'm going to go AZ. 204, next. It's Windows. Go here. Now this is the one I want. Okay, you do it. I guess. All right, so now we try again. So where's my dock? So we did that. We go here, enable. I'll wait for your function to be deployed. Select publish. All right, let's select publish. If it works, I'm hoping it'll work, because now it's actually a .NET program, so it's not going to complain about language compatibility. It might override my HTTP of the other one, because from what they said before is when you publish from a outside location, it overwrites everything there. So you got to make sure everything is in your app. Everything is not in my app. So we're going to be doing this. I don't know what how my function app works in deploying to that function app, but I don't know if the names have to match. I don't know. We're going to find out. Because if names have to match, then I have to tweak stuff. Because obviously mine is AMG AZ204 Watch Functions 2, and this is called Visual Studio V22 Functions app. Now it's doing a lot more than it did before when it failed, so it feels like it's doing stuff. Waiting for function app to be ready. We built. It was succeeded in building. Now it's waiting for the function app to be ready, whatever that means. Function app is ready. Publish succeeded. All right, let's go see. Refresh. Probably just hit refresh. There's a refresh button right here. I just didn't click that one. There it is. Functions 1 and watch info. So it works once you have a valid function app. So again, my suggestion is create Visual Studio function apps, or create your function app from VS Code, from Visual Studio, whatever. I don't know, however you're going to do it. But yeah, if you're using a free app, just I feel sorry for you, man. Good luck. If you figure out how to make it work from Azure, setting it up correctly, yeah, please let me know. I would love to know that information. I don't think it exists. I think Windows is pulling one over on you. All right, so verify the functions are deployed. All right, return to Azure portal. We did that. Function app functions. Verify that watch info are listed. They are in the function app menu. Select overview and check the status. Well, let's see on the function app menu. Select overview and check the status. There's overview. Isn't that where we're at? Overview, and then functions. Functions. What's your function? Oh, status, running. Yeah, and URL. Yeah, see it. Functions are marked as read only. They are. Functions marked as read only. You can not modify their settings or configuration from the portal because you publish them from Visual Studio. If you need to update either of these functions, make the changes in Visual Studio and publish again. In the function apps pane, select the URL. In the function app pane, select the URL. A previous window opens. A browser window opens and confirms that the function app is up and running. Your Functions 4.0 app is up and running. Why do we have the blue screen of death guy though? Why? Just because it's a smiley face, this is what you see on the blue screen of death. Why do they show you that? That's like, oh, what is that? That's not good. I know it says it's good, but I don't think it's good. Append the URL of the watch info function, API watch info, to the URL in the browser to invoke the watch info function without a query string. Append the URL of the watch info function to the URL in the browser to invoke the watch info function. Really? Websites.net. Oh. I don't know what the URL of my watch info function is. API watch info? Is that what it was? Don't remember. It was Friday. That was 3 days ago. I don't remember any of that. Now, these are read only, but I should be able to load it and at least look at it. So if I go get URL. Yeah, it's API watch info. I mean, it's going to be the same thing, right? So it says your thing. Go here. Oh, please provide a watch model. Okay. And then we go question mark model equals ABC. Oops, too many question marks. All right, we got solid titanium. We're done. Finished it. Fini. If I go back to here, I am curious though. Where did I actually define that watch info? Oh, there it is. ABC, manufacturer, ABC, case type. You know, there's only one model, ABC. That's it. I didn't even create a backup option. If I want more, I guess I have to create more more details. But there you go. So now we got to do unit testing. So that's the next thing. That's the last part, I believe, of this before I'm done with module 5. So we did this. Mark is completed. And then we will go on to next. And we will like, what is this? Oh, I guess we're doing unit testing as, oh yeah, we're just going straight to unit testing. Okay, it's not going to be a quiz first. Usually they do a quiz after everything. So we're going to go, it's the next button here. Exercise, unit test, and Azure function. And it's funny, they actually put instead of sending you to a document this time, they actually just copy and pasted the document. Oh, they didn't copy and paste it. Look, it's pretty close. But instead of sending you to the learn document, which is basically the same thing, unit test and Azure document, create a unit test project. So now they have two different ways to do it, because you have the Microsoft Learn version and you have their version. Probably because this one, well, no, they both use watch info. I don't know why this one's different, but let's just do the one the class says. Let's be good students. Okay, where is it? In Visual Studio, in the Solution Explorer window, right-click on the function, select Add, and select New Project. Why am I doing it here, though? Add. Oh, it's a solution. How come it says right-click the Watch Portal function solution? Oh, that's because they named it weird. Okay. They named theirs. Well, okay, it's the solution of the Watch Portal function. I get it. So it's just, ugh, just bad. Okay. Bad naming, sorry. New project. And then we're going to go down to unit test. All right, so we got unit test. X unit. We want X unit. I don't know why X unit. X unit test project. Why are we using X unit test project? Template and then select next. Okay. Project contains xunit.net tests that can run on .NET, Windows, Linux, and Mac OS. All right. Watch function tests. Watch function tests. Tests. Only one S, Ken. All right. Side. The location field. Side. It's probably a sign. A side. Side. The look. Oh, B side. I don't know. Location field. Select the browse icon and then select watch portal functions. Select create. Browse icon. Select the location field. Select the browse icon and then select watch portal function. Oh, it's because this is the thing I want. And then we'll say create. No, there's no create. What? Project name field, enter watch function test. Aside the location field, select browse icon, and then select watch portal function, select create. There's no create. What are you talking about? Next. This is different. Now it says create. I'll just say create there and see what it does. All right. Solution Explorer window, and then select Manage NuGet Packages. The project has been added. Right-click the Watch Function Tests project. It's like Manage NuGet Packages. Okie dokie. Just cruising right along and setting this up. Okay. Microsoft.NET ASP Core MVC. Is that on here? Probably. Just say ASP.NET Core. Okay. In the NuGet Watch Functions test window, select Browse tab. Oh, that's why, because I was on the installed spot. All right, so try this again. ASP.NET Core. ASP.NET Core MVC. .mvc. That's interesting. It's got ASP.NET Core.mvc.core, but this one is not the same. See, we've got Microsoft at ASP.NET Core.mvc. And this is Microsoft ASP.NET Core.mvc.core. Well, there's the one that they mentioned. Has 211 million downloads, but there's this one that's got 688 million downloads. MVC core components contains common action result types, attribute routing application. They're both deprecated though. They're gonna teach me how to do this with deprecated tech. What is the thing they replaced it with though? Monday, December 3rd, it was published 2018. So this is definitely pretty old. This package has been deprecated as it is legacy and no longer maintained. The package has been deprecated. .NET page. You can learn more about it from GitHub. Okay. I want to just know what they replaced it with, so then I can go get the latest. .NET package maintenance. .NET Core was released on June 16th. Over the last 6 years, many thousands of NuGet packages have been published under that umbrella. To provide developers with better package support status information, the .NET team will start using NuGet package deprecation feature. Deprecated packages remain visible in NuGet to clients. We have started the get clean process, beginning DNX packages, and will proceed cautiously through the older. If you believe the package is deprecated by mistake, release. Yeah. I don't want to comment. I just want to know what. All that does is talk about what is deprecation. I don't care. I want to know what replaced it. Deprecated in lieu of what? Because if I'm going to do this, I want to do it with whatever replaced this, not with what is current. Copy. What replaced I was running into this there. I did the following. I removed the reference to deprecated NuGet packages. I added the following to my CS project. Rebuild your project. ASP.NET Core app. To confirm, I got what I wanted. I went into the definition of the keyword route, which was previously redlined, and then I saw the following at the top of the file, which made me comfortable. Also, there may be issues with Blazor apps, but I was upgrading an old API class library. Microsoft ASP.NET Core app. Might already be in here, in other words. Might already be good. Let's see. Microsoft dot ASP.NET Core MVC dot app. Right? Is that what it said? This is, nope, no MVC. Here we go. 35.1 million downloads. This version is deprecated. Even that's deprecated. When did this come out? That's 2019. That was a little newer. That's That's deprecated as well. What the heck, man? And then they don't tell you what the heck replaced it. It's going to come down to it's already in there. It's in there. It's prego. No, that's not what I meant. Just, no. What replaced? Also getting deprecated. Okay. Could resolve the issue today. I noticed in the package indicates that it's also deprecated and vulnerable. What else could be using these two packages? You didn't say why you were referencing those packages. If you're trying to update an existing web app, then I suggest creating an empty directory running .NET new MVC, or have a look at .NET new list and see if there are any other templates that are more closely aligned with what you want. Then compare your existing CS proj and the new proj. However, I think it's more likely you're trying to create a class library that can reference ASP.NET Core APIs. There's a docs page specifically for this. Hopefully it's obvious you should use a newer target framework from .NET Core App 3.1. The point of this sample is to show the framework reference, and it's MS build item, not a property. I know people are dumb. I hate when people say things that are condescending. Well, it should be obvious. It's like, oh, God. You're a jerk. If it was obvious, the person wouldn't have been there. And I don't care if it was easy to you or not. If it was easy to me. If it's easy to me, it might be because I know how to do it. It doesn't mean the other people know how to do it. Don't be a jerk. Just answer the question. You don't need any crap like, it should be obvious, or hopefully it's obvious. Come on. I mean, if you're brainless, you're just don't be like that. Don't be that guy. All right, what do I need? Maybe I just need to just see what happens if I don't do this. Maybe it works. Use the ASP.NET Core shared framework. With the release of .NET Core 3.0, many core assemblies are no longer published in NuGet as packages. Instead, the assemblies are included in the ASP shared framework, which is installed in the .NET Core SDK and runtime installers. So it might actually be in there, especially if I've already got this stuff running, because sounds like some of this stuff might be included. So let's go back to my exercise and let's just see what the next steps are. Wait while the package. After the package has been added, solution window, under the watch project, right-click the unit test CS1. So we'll right-click on this, and then select rename, because we're going to call it watch function unit tests. Watch function unit tests. And then, of course, yes. In the Solution Explorer window, under the Watch Function Test project, right-click Dependencies, and then select Add Reference. Okay, and well, add what kind of reference? I guess we'll just add a project reference. No, it can't be project reference. Just add. I think it doesn't matter. I think it's going to open up the same window, to be honest, because it just goes here and takes you to the different things. Like that reference in the reference manager window. Now, okay, so I know that because I just know that it can't be the same window. You got the shared projects and you got the solution, you got the different reference locations. So, you know, I just knew that because I know Visual Studio in that sense. In the reference manager window, select Watch Portal Functions Project. So it is a project reference, which is this guy. And select OK. All right, add unit test for the watch info function. Now, if it's like it'll actually create basic tests that just connect. I don't think it'll actually do anything, but You can now add unit tests to test project in luxury scenario. When watch info function always returns OK response when model is provided settings and a better sense of questions for model. It's to verify the behavior. You'll add a pair of fact tests to the watch. In the Solution Explorer window, to display it to the code window, double click the watch function unit test file, CSS file. Okay. At the top, add the following using directives. Change the name of test1 method to test watch function success. In the body of test watch function, add the following code, which will just probably be the basics of the test, and I'm sure it'll probably explain it, but I also probably kind of have an idea. We're going to get the query string ABC because ABC is our only functional function or a type. What do you call it? Company name. var request, new default HTTP request. See, now that's going to be different. Request includes a string that includes a model parameter, which is set to ABC. The statement creates a mock HTTP context and an HTTP request. Add the following statement to the method. The statement creates a dummy. Right, let's see. Add the following statement to the method. The statement creates a dummy logger. What method? The request includes a query string that includes a model parameter, which is set to ABC. Okay. Add the following statement to the method. The statement creates a dummy logger. Okay. Just adding it to it just at the end, or do you assume? Well, it's not complaining. Add the following code to the method. Why don't they just give it to you all at once? This statement invokes the watch info function, passing in the dummy request logger as the parameter. Okay, I guess it's just because they're building it up, showing you bit by bit what it's doing. So now we're passing in the logger, and we're going to X watch portal function. Oh, and I didn't call it that, so I have to call it what it is. For me, it's V22 function app. V22 function app. Now add the following code to the method. This code checks that the response from the Azure function is correct. In this case, the function should return an OK response. Now you can see there's a couple of problems already. I'm seeing some buggy stuff. We do have some issues, and this could be because we're working with different unit testing junk, so I may have things. The complete method should look something like this. So we got the vlogger, we got the var response. So this is not referencing anything. Does not contain a definition for weight, no explanation of weight, accepting a first argument of type action could be found. Are you missing a using directive or assembly reference? Maybe. Yes, and probably. Add two more methods. Named these guys. Verify that the watch info function fails gracefully if it isn't given a query string. Okay, so we can do this. This is just going to go underneath here, and So this creates two more methods. As you can see, I'm still getting this default HTTP request is having a problem. It doesn't, I don't know what that means due to its protection level, which should be, what is its protection level? See, I noticed that some of these protection level issues are actually because it's set like the in the later versions they get more tight protections. So like it might be using what do you call it, private or static, or not static, but public or some other scope that protects it at too far of a location. So or too narrow of a point. So you got to call it out a little bit more directly. So I got to figure this out. Yeah, see, it's been changed from public to internal as part of the ASP.NET Core 3.0 release, which means it's no longer available. However, in the code you've shown, there doesn't seem to be any reason to create or depend on HTTP requests. I recommend changing the code to something like this. So he's doing something probably similar to mine. The type of namespace name could not be found. I have been using above as, so he's got it right here. Default HTTP oh, well, it's similar. Default HTTP request. Oh, here it is. I wonder if, see, this is set up as internal here, but can you add something like var new default context, new default HTTP context, and fetch the request from within the context, like var default context.request. However, in the code you've shown, HTTP request test one up. Async void is generally bad, but that's a separate issue. HTTP context equals new default HTTP context. Well, I can try something like this. I mean, it's basically the same thing, right? So let's see what that does. Let's see if that works. Let's see if his is any better. So we go var context equals new default HTTP context, and then we're going to call it feature collection. I don't know what that is, but I don't know what that is. So his feature collection, his other piece, he must be his thing he created up here maybe. It's what if I don't know what that is. His feature collection, his own collection of stuff. Yeah, it's I don't know what this, it doesn't even know what this has anything. And I don't see where he's defining feature collection at all. Is he passing it in? Let's just delete that. We're gonna go. I know, just if you don't need it, just delete it. What could possibly go wrong there? Let's see if I delete this and just say context.request. Oddly enough, there's no errors. It appears to have fixed that problem. Yeah, I don't know. But it doesn't fully get me through because I obviously have this problem here because I still have to figure out why my code is still doing this. So I got query, and it's part of this request, right? So should I be doing it this way though? Nope. Gets rid of the error, but why? But it's like it's supposed to be part of. It's not. Huh. Got a few problems. Okay, so a lot of this is going to come down to the fact that I'm working in a newer code area than this is, and it's like I don't know. And I've never used XUnit. I don't even know what I didn't even know XUnit was a thing. I've used NUnit, and I've MS Test, but I've never used XUnit. Which makes things fun, right? So you're working with new, and so it's a little bit trickier to try to solve for the current problem. Because I'm going in here, I'm like, okay, query equals new query collection. Query collection is not a problem, but it doesn't like the query being, what, undefined? I don't know what it's saying. And query does not exist in the current context. It doesn't, apparently. But is that because this HTTP request is expecting something else in this version, but here it does not? What if I type get here? Nope. Nope. Because it does actually show. See, it's got a get method in them. It's got a gets the HTTP request object for this. GitHub examples and documentation. All right, let's see what this shows. All right, so This is different. definitely, definitely not exactly. Example 2, HTTP context. I did that. Default HTTP context. Then we got context.request.route values. New route value dictionary. That's not really what I want. So it's kind of like this top one, huh? So if I want to rewrite it for this top thing, so we got HTTP, new default HTTP context. And oddly enough, this is not, we're gonna, let's go like this. Let's write it like this one, just because I want to see what it does. We can go like that, and we're gonna go squiggly braces. And then we're going to go request equals, and then we're going to do this. Take that out. All right, so we got var. Now, I mean, I guess we don't even have to use var because we're being very specific. Context equals new default HTTP context. I don't know. Oh, then we got request equals query, which is new query collection. I don't need to do this query collection though, I don't think. New query string. Equals query. Oh, well, first of all, I gotta put my squigglies on here, don't I? Interestingly enough, this stopped erroring. So if we have an error here, but now we don't. Interesting. Okay, well, looks like it was new formatting. Oh, stop it. Oh, that's right. I'm not in VS Code. I gotta apply the formatting somehow. Like, this is all off. Apparently I don't have an auto formatting going on here. Nope. That's all I'm getting, man. But everything's it's not complaining syntactically. Doesn't guarantee me I'm working. It just guarantees me that I've got this. Now I got to figure out what's up with the response.wait method. I don't know why they even have a wait going on, but I'm trying to get the code to be kind of what they want. So here I'm going to have to go with a context.request, I think. Context.request. Jeez. Dot request. Nope. Didn't like that. What is run method expecting here? HTTP request. Yeah. Well, what is this thing then? default HTTP context.request gets the HTTP request object for this request. All right, well, request, or let's just say var request equals context dot request. And then I'm actually thinking I'm going to write it like this one. Because that's basically doing the same thing, right? I mean, we're just writing the test so that this thing works like it's expecting to. So, and this is a sample from the actual use of this version of code. So we got a request. I don't know why I can't pass this request object in. Execute request. So what if I just pass in, what is context? So it's not, it is dot though, right? Yeah, request. And what is it saying this is? Default HTTP content, HTTP request. So I should be able to say HTTP request. Yeah, but why is this not liking it then? Because I am passing an HTTP request. Request is not null here. Oh, are you kidding me? Who says it's supposed to be? That's dumb. Nope, didn't like it. So I can't make it nullable. Request is not null here. Well, so what? It's not supposed to be. All right, so we got the query collection request. Do I have to? So we got model is what are we assigning here? Run request logger all right, let's see unit test example for HTTP trigger function. Let's see what this guy does. It's 22, so it's definitely later than the 2018 or 19 version I'm doing. Why do I have to wait 15 seconds?
Kind of theory sessions.
Okay, come on.
So we'll go and stop these other functions. Okay. We will remove.
Let's see what he's got here. He's got async action test, HTTP trigger. Oh, he's testing them slightly different. Oh, that's the function itself. It's not the test. All right. Function name, function. All right, now we're in the test. So he's got basically, what am I doing? Var response. See, he's got it slightly different here. I know, it's really tiny. My apologies for that.
The HTTP request by just calling the unit test factory dot get HTTP request. So I'll click.
So public static. I'm not using unit test factory though. Theater mode.
The unit test factory dot get HTTP request. So I'm not passing any query string parameters.
What is this? How come this is there?
So that means I'm not going to do any logs. So that's the reason I have commented the log statement in the browser functions.
I want this to go away, but I can't. How come I can't get the chat thing to go away? This whole piece needs to go. There we go. There it is. It's like it just wasn't available. Okay.
If you come back here, so here that is the reason. If you pass the null, so it will throw an op.
All right. So this is the actual trigger. He's testing an HTTP trigger. It's the same thing. So.
Object reference error. So the first time we are not going to use any log. So that's the reason I have commented. And here I'm not passing any query string also, so we will be getting this message as the result. Okay, so we'll copy this message. We'll come back to the
So let's close this. So on mine, he's not doing anything except executing it. That's all he's doing so far. He's got the he don't even have a. He's just got result. I've just got my response, which is basically the same thing, equals what function or app run. And then he's passing in unit test factory get HTTP request, which is a different thing for sure. So he's using a different tool than I'm using. So what, I don't know, I guess I should probably have paid attention to the beginning of his thing. Because I'm thinking X unit might even be deprecated in its own, that maybe they're using a different kind, because this is 2022. And this class is like 2019, like 3 years older than 2022. So let's see.
new project. So I'm going to create a other functions. Let's create the other functions. Debugger logs, and we are processing some of the query strings. So let's test this. We'll go and run this function. Let me open. So we'll open Chrome. We will remove the logs, so we don't want to process. We pass the query string parameter, so then it will, again I'm leaving the name as is. So we are going to use the .NET 6. with the LTS long thing. So let's go add new project. So we'll go and add the Microsoft Unit Test project. So here I have already chosen, so that's
So
what
they're
I'm
using MS
clicking.
Test. I know MS Test a little bit better. XUnit is right underneath that. Oh, he actually used XUnit test project on his. It says recent project templates. Um, so it. I don't know. What do, what should I do? Should I go with? Should I go try to find an example that uses XUnit in a later version, or should I use MS Test? Let's see what the Google verse says. XUnit versus MS Test. And I want something kind of recent. Looks like in the last, let's say, past year. Yeah, and then all right. Really? Really? Huh. Okay, so XUnit's not deprecated. So, it's one of the things about learning new apps, new code, new stuff. What's the new? What's the thing everybody's using? Because you wanna be in the mix of what's popular. I mean, yeah, you can do the other stuff, and there's going to be people using it.
The majority of us has been using XUnit for a long time, but the question is why? It was 2007. I was at my IBM ThinkPad bulky laptop staring at Visual Studio 2005 when for the first time I created a test project. At the time we called it the Visual Studio Testing Framework, aka MES Test. But since then, a long time went by, and I eventually moved to a different testing framework. I played with NUnit for a few months, but eventually I landed into XUnit, and I have been using it since then. So this video got me thinking what I was thinking about when I decided to leave MES Test. So many years after, it's really hard to recall the reasons for such decision. So it's hard to say. However, it turned out that it was the best decision for me. So in this video, I will revisit those three main testing frameworks on the .NET space. Attribute that is a test method when you want to identify that a method works as a test.
Let's see how they vary. So I used MS Test with the test class, test method. NUnit, I've never really used NUnit all that much. I've seen it a couple times, but I don't know that I ever grasped it enough to play with it. XUnit goes a little bit different. You can see it looks like there may be less parts because both of these require extra stuff. So maybe XUnit's easier.
Go to NUnit. You will also have a hint or what is the thing that some don't like. That is, okay, we have the test, perfect. The name is better than test method. Let's face it. Then you have here one thing that is the setup, okay? And this setup is a huge difference when compared to XUnit. So if we go now into XUnit on the right, you can still see an attribute here, okay? We don't avoid attributes at all. However, what you will see when using XUnit is that the use of attributes is not that common. As an example, the setup that you can see here is something that will happen naturally on XUnit through the constructor, and we will eventually talk about that. So, this first reason is that many like the fact that XUnit invests on the nature of C# in this case. So if C# has a concept for creating a class, let's use it instead of bringing a new method and adding it an attribute, for example. So this natural alignment with the language is something that many like. Now let's take a look into the argument number 2. That is the one that I find the strongest one. One of the desirable properties of a good test is that tests should run in isolation. And that is the key for this second argument. But this time we will see that this is an argument when facing...
Okay, so one of the things I always did with MS Test, and I don't know how this sets up here in XUnit, Maybe he'll talk about that a little bit. But um, MS tests. See, I know this class is telling me how to set up these unit tests, the X unit, and get it going. But I feel like I don't want to go blindly into being, I'm taking a class that's 3 years old. I mean, it's for AZ204. They still do AZ204. It's still a thing, no doubt. But what they don't have is uh, a reason for why you're using certain things. You don't want to get deprecated. And I doubt that the AZ204 is going to go into how to syntactically create a unit test. The idea is that you know how. It's showing you how you can set this up. And I don't mind knowing that. I just want to get a concept of what is it that people are using? How do you make them work? I want to see it work simply because I want to use it. I want to do some unit tests, automated unit testing. But my thought is, if I'm going to make this work, I want to make it work with the current code, right? So they deprecate certain things that don't work anymore. So I got to find a later test example that uses latest versions.
X unit against N unit because MES test works in the same way as X unit. So I have here kind of like the same test, but you will realize that we need to do things slightly different. So my test class has a simple field with a stack, and then I have two test methods, okay? And on the N unit example, you can see that the first test will push an entry into there, and then the second test will pop it. However, if I run exactly the same test, if I try to write the same test with, for example, X unit, you will see that to succeed, I need to catch this exception. Why? The way that X unit works is that you will have a fresh instance of the class for each test. So each test, each fact that you can see here, will run in isolation. In other words, the test runner will create a new instance of test execution, the name of this class, then we'll call this method, then we'll dispose it. Then we'll create another new instance of test execution, run the other test, and then dispose it as well. That means that when I run this second test, I don't have anything on the stack. While in the NUnit version, I have it because NUnit only creates one instance of that class and use both instances to run all the methods, all the tests. And in this aspect, MES test is exactly the same thing as XUnit. And this is one thing that we tend to like because of that reason, okay?
Okay, well, that's good. I mean, I understand that. Yeah. I like the tools like live test on Visual Studio that actually lets you run your testing applications, and it just keeps them running. Every time you make a change to it, it runs it again. So it's just like if your test works, if you're passing.
Favor isolation. And why do we do that? Because we don't like flaky tests. We don't like the idea that when I'm writing a test, I need to think about the test execution part of it, or I need to be concerned if this is impacting another test. And let me show you how that is impactful. So first let's run the tests, and you can see that all of them are green. And now let's do the following. Let's go here to the NUnit test, and I will simply rename the test. So I will name the pop as A and the push as B, and I will do exactly the same to the XUnit test. Run all those tests again, and this time you can see that XUnit still green, so the tests were not impacted by renaming the test itself, while in the case of NUnit, now I have one test failing and another one going green. Why? Because by the fact that I changed the name, I basically changed the order of execution. So this is one of those things that I don't want to be concerned when writing my tests. And that's one reason why many
Really?
like to use
Well, that's dumb.
However, let me tell you that this is extremely important, and you can see that XUnit was designed with this in mind. However, nowadays, you can change NUnit to work this way. How? There's one attribute that you can define in your assembly of your tests, that is the fixture life cycle, and you can say that you want an instance per case, per test case. So to test that attribute, let's comment it again. Let's revert the test names. If we run the tests, everything is green, so perfect. Now what I want to show you is that if I remove this, now the order of the tests basically doesn't matter. So the test B will fail, will throw the same exception as the XUnit version and the MS test version is throwing, because now I don't reuse the same fields, the same instance of the class when I execute both tests. So if we run it again, now it should fail. Okay, so now what I would need to do is changing this test to use the same approach as in the MES test or XUnit. So let's comment that attribute again to have my tests green, but now you know if you have been using NUnit, now you can shape it to work in the same way as XUnit does. But that raises the question, how different are they? Is just those two details, is that enough to decide which one should I use? And to answer that, first we need to revisit the story of that. So NUnit is heavily inspired in JUnit, the Java version. However, this doesn't mean that it is a port. It's not. In fact, NUnit and JUnit come from the same family of testing tools. And the cool thing is that the name of that family is XUnit tools. But this XUnit is not the other XUnit. So there's one approach to testing frameworks that came from the work, I think in Smalltalk by Kent Beck, that defines this type of tools as XUnit tools. And I believe that X on that name means X by anything, like you replace the X by a J because it's Java, you replace the X by an N because it's .NET, okay, you get it. So they come from the same family, so they have kind of like the same approaches. And I think that even nowadays, JUnit is the most popular testing framework in the Java space. So in .NET we had NUnit for a long time, and at the same time, Microsoft was working in MES test and they released it as part of Visual Studio 2005, following a practice that was common in Microsoft of releasing a tool to compete with the open source ones. The good news is that we don't have that Microsoft anymore. So Microsoft was working on a parallel thing that is MES test. But eventually, one of the authors of NUnit left the project, and with a colleague, he started the initiative of XUnit. And the goal was to try to design a new testing framework from a different perspective. So it could be inspired in the way that we write tests in NUnit, but the idea was to question the ways of doing it. The idea was to create a new approach that was more in line with the typical development experience in .NET. So we can say that XUnit is a tool that is based on an observation how NUnit is built and questioning
there you go.
every single decision. And trying
So
to
it kind of sounds like XUnit might be better. It's just really hard to know. I mean, ultimately, you're doing unit testing on the And this guy asked this because MS Test is pretty fast. I've used MS Test. That's actually where I have most of my experience. I've, the prep and such. So anyway, so let's quickly try to go on, and let me see if I can reshrink this back. If I can figure out how to get back to a normal. That's not really what I was aiming for. Okay, so let's go. XUnit trigger function example. So XUnit testing with XUnit. Oh, let's see. XUnit HTTP trigger. I don't want 2 years ago though. It's got to be something recent so I can see Azure. Okay, start with Azure functions, HTTP and timer triggers, unit test, and Azure functions. How was that one? 3 years. See, that's 3 years. I don't want 3 years. I want like 1 year. Hey, here's a thing I've never done. Let's try this. Let's see how smart Copilot really is. I always have my doubts about how these chat GPT things actually work, but we're gonna find out. Okay, what references do I need to create XUnit tests in Visual Studio 2022? Let's see. How smart are you? Copilot's out there doing its AI browsing. it's Googling. Copilot's Googling, trying to see if it can assemble the problem. Okay. To create XUnit in Visual, you will need the following steps: create an XUnit project, template, choose the appropriate code, add a reference to unit to the code under test in your unit presentation, add reference projects while your XUnit tests, add a new class to your unit test project, run your tests. Open the Test Explorer, run all. Remember, XUnit is a popular lightweight test frame. It didn't tell me anything. It told me how to set up the test, but it didn't tell me what references I need. Add a reference to the code, which we've already got, but it doesn't tell me what like add-ins or functionality I need for this to work. And I might not need anything. Maybe I'm good. I just got to set up an actual, let's see. Give me an example XUnit test for a trigger. How about How about a trigger function in Visual Studio 2022? I don't know. I certainly. That's pretty simple, but that's just a unit test. That is not a function unit test. So it didn't really give me what I wanted. It gave me a very simple unit test, which, you know, didn't really need. I mean, it did give me this, but it didn't give me what I actually wanted here. All right, so yeah, that's not going to work. 2 years ago. Let's see if the 2 years ago one is more current than.
Here's how to turbocharge your IT operation. Go to Atera.com, the IT management platform.
Hi guys, today I'm going to show you how. Okay, we will test with them to remove these all things.
Oh, that's not even. No, that's not what I wanted. I wanted to create a unit test. How to write and test your first Azure function tutorial using XUnit like a pro in under 10 minutes. Unit testing your Azure functions. All right, well, let's see. It's 1 year. Let's see if they use XUnit.
So I'm choosing the Microsoft test.
Ah, it's the one I just looked at, and it's MS Test.
So again, I'm leaving the name as is. So we are going to use the.
Why doesn't he use XUnit? He had it on there. Could he not get XUnit working? So he did the video with. XUnit or with MS Test. So, oh, dang it! This doesn't work. I'm going to do it with unit test. MS Test. Azure. Huh. Well, okay. So there's no example out there that's gonna. Do you think it matters if I use a different? If I use a different.
Majority of us has been using it.
All right, so we know that. Which is better? XUnit. Let's just see. XUnit. Trigger function. Test. Unit test. Bus triggered Azure bus. Testing service bus triggers for Azure functions. 2024. It's pretty recent. Alright, so we got host builder extension hosting, example function, service trigger function, test harness. By using X unit fixture, we can share the same host between tests, increase test performance. Host extension methods looks like this. Integration test. Okay, so they have they do their run here. They got the message. How do they set the message? They set the message with this. Yeah, I don't think my function is the same kind of function. And they didn't even use request objects. They create an instance of the service bus trigger function, and then they set up the body for it as a message, and then sent that through as part. Oh wow, they changed it to binary data. That seems like it's getting I don't know if that seems like that was a bit more than I was looking for, to be honest. Alright, so it sounds like what I'm going to have to do is break it down and solve for my environment, not for anybody else's, because it seems like it doesn't want to, there isn't an example of my environment using a latest version, because like things like the wait method, right? So it's not there. I mean, the design of this code is to use deprecated objects, deprecated items. Now, I was able to get around the first part, but as you can see, I'm unable to pass my request to this. It doesn't like it. I don't know why. I could... What happens if I just pass context? I mean, in all honesty, I should have probably lowercase that c, because that's the rule of the day, but... See, it doesn't... Nothing I do here is going to change the... It just doesn't want it. It does not want my run. It does not want this. No overload method for run takes 2 arguments. Oh, so there's no... It's just the request? It doesn't even want the logger? So this version doesn't even do the log. Nope, that ain't it either. Yeah, it just doesn't work now. An object reference? What do you mean an object reference? This is an object reference. It's a request. Request is not null. Oh. Oh no, I tried that before. It didn't work then either. It's like, it's insanity. The very definition. Keep trying the same thing, hoping to try the same thing, hoping for a different result. So obviously trying for a different result is not getting me the result I want. Unit testing Azure functions with F. What the heck is F? Azure function testing, unit testing. I don't know what F is. Oh, they're using Microsoft Entity Framework Core in memory. This is not XUnit. This is NUnit. Because NUnit uses test, not, or XUnit uses fact, and NUnit uses test, and Microsoft MS Test uses test method. So I don't know what the heck. This is April 2024. Okay. TypeScript, C#. Create a mock function context. Set up a logger to return a mock iLogger object. Pass the mock function to your function. Assert that the function returns the expected result. I hope this helps further. Huh. So this is obviously not as straightforward as I hoped, and this is taking longer than I expected. I got started a little late today, so I'm going to stop for a bit, and maybe I'll plug away at it a bit more later, and then if I come up with an answer, I'll do it. I'll let you know tomorrow. If I don't, I'll try again tomorrow. Till then, take it easy.